Hello, this is Karto Nretsew for the Otaku Blaze season review for spring 2013. With me this time is Nretsew.
It's the not summer again.
Yeah.
We're back to the not summer.
Yeah, it's just going to be us two because this is going to be a pretty short review, especially against our other ones.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I've only got two things to talk about. Karto's only got one.
Yeah.
And really, the first one I'm going to do is probably not going to be that long.
Yeah,
the last one I'm going to do is probably going to be a bit long, but we'll just see what happens there.
So, the series we're going to be reviewing, I'm going to be talking about Devil Survivor 2, the animation.
Yeah, I'm going into Hentai Prince and the Stony Cat, or Hentai Prince, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Just that one with the guy and the cat, okay? And Katara-san, which is not a spring release, but I watched it this season, so it counts. So it's mostly just because I just want to talk about it, like in terms of the podcast. Because it's just one of those shows.
And really, we kind of might as well, considering it would really be really short if we didn't. So
yeah.
Okay, so do you want to get one of yours out of the way?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about Hentai Prince now. That's alright. That's the best. Like, in short, it's alright. In long, I thought it was pretty much exactly what I was expecting. I was expecting a lighthearted, fairly funny, jokey kind of show about a hentai. Basically, it's about his name? I can't even. I'm gonna have to bring up. I know I'm unprofessional, but you know how horrible I am with names. Okay, so. And
you didn't write them down because.
I didn't. I wrote down notes on everything else but the names because I'm a dipshit. That's why. Shush. And there's nothing on the more info side on Crunchyroll. That's just.
Wiki it.
I'm gonna wiki it. Shush. Feel free to cut this out if you need to. I can. Yeah, I'm making more work for Karto. I feel glad with myself. Oh god, where is it? You do realise that after I find it, I'm not going to be able to pronounce it for shit.
I know how I feel in the season outlooks.
Oh god. Okay, Yoto. I think it's Yoto. I'll put it in the chat for you so you can have a look and see if it's fucking correct or not. Just going to call him Yoto. He is a hentai. He is a pervert. And he basically, the first scene you see him in is he's basically doing track, gym. But the thing is, the only reason he's doing track is so he could do sit-ups near the pool where the girls are. And he literally goes into this monologue about how he just does sit-ups all the time. Just there. Just crouching up and down. To see oh god, it's pretty funny, and then you get introduced to what's her name? Hang on, I'm having a look.
We've only just begun, and the rest is screws up.
I'm looking through the list to figure out which one it is. Here we go. Oh god, all the T's. All the fucking T's. There's like 5 T's in there. How the fuck do you... Okay. I'm gonna call her the leader of the track. Okay? Because she's the leader of the track. Now basically, she wants to make the Hentai Prince, which is what I'm gonna call this guy, the successor. So he's gonna take over the track team. Of course, he's not interested in this. Because the only reason he's there is to perv on people. And then we get some hilarity with that, and the whole personality behind the track person is that she's very strict, and very, if you don't do this, I'm going to murder you. She's very, oh god, what's the word I'm looking for here? Very, very bloody angry, I don't know. Let's just skip a little bit. To bits that I can remember. So, because this isn't a very memorable series, this is why I can't remember anything. So basically, he's talking with one of his friends on the way home, and he's going on about how he's prayed at this cat statue to take away his pervertedness, and it's changed his life, and he's now become a missionary going to Africa. This is how random this show is, Karto. It's just random shit.
Well, I did watch the first episode, so...
Yeah. Well, then why aren't you fucking explaining it then?
Because I didn't really find it all that interesting.
Now you know how I feel. So essentially he goes to this cat, and in order to pray to the cat you have to give up an offering. So he decides to offer up his body pillow, which he ties around his waist while he's riding his bike. And my question is, why haven't the cops picked him up yet? Because, let's face it, if I saw a guy... This might be more common in Japan, I don't know, right? I'm not judging no one, I'm just saying.
Well, Nretsew...
In my country, if you saw someone riding down the street on a bicycle with a body pillow, which is very suggestive on his back, I'm probably going to say he'd get picked up pretty quickly.
Nretsew, something you need to remember is that in Japan, it's possible for someone to marry a body pillow.
I kind of overlooked that. Moving on. So he takes it up to the Stony Cat, and this is where we meet the other female lead, who is...
You mean our main female lead?
Yeah. Well, no, because that track chick, she comes back quite a bit. So
yeah, but she's still more of a secondary main.
She's more of a secondary. This is the main, one of the two main females in the show. Tiskaya or something, I can't pronounce it. Fucking sister to the other chick. And basically she's gonna pray to the cat to take away her emotions, which you find out why later on in the series. And basically, there is a mix-up, and what happens is, instead of losing his perversionness, he loses his facade. So he basically can't hide the fact that he's a pervert. And the chick loses her emotions, but she loses, she wanted the ability to control her emotions. She loses her emotions entirely. She basically becomes Rei Ayanami for the whole show. She's actually not bad. She's actually one of the better characters in the show, surprisingly. That's saying much. But basically the whole first part of the show is him trying to get his facade back because it's been given to another chick, who is Azuki, I don't know, something like that. And basically she's basically got the facade because she wants to become popular. And the whole first part of the show is him trying to get this chick to give back his facade. And the thing about it is that this whole time, there's sort of like a jokey feel to it and then a serious tone to it. And it kind of doesn't mesh well.
Yeah. Like,
you kind of have this, like, at one moment they'll be making jokes about his pervertedness, and then the next minute it'll be getting really serious about the chick with her person, like the whole emotionless thing. And then we get to, and then it's actually resolved really quickly. Like the first 3 episodes, they resolve that plot point, and then they move on to the next plot point, which is basically the guy's house disappears.
So it's in that sort of sense, it's kind of like the world God only knows. In that after every few episodes, it starts a new plot.
Sort of. I mean, that all kind of ties in together, but it's not really fixed. And it still suffers from the problem of that. It's trying to have a serious kind of plot, but the hilarity's kind of getting in the way a little bit. I think it should have took it aside. It should have become... Basically, it should have tried to do a serious narrative, or it should have become a gag anime.
Yeah, it doesn't really... It doesn't know what it actually wants to be.
It suffers from... It's not like with other shows that I've talked about where it's been whiplash. It's just been that it's had an identity crisis, and you kind of think, sitting there watching it going, what are you doing? Why am I here? Why am I watching this? Am I watching this because I want to feel for these characters? Am I watching this because I want to be laughing at them? You know... Yeah, so it moves on from the plot of him losing his facade to the house, which ties into some of the other serious aspects because it goes into... Oh god, I don't even know where I'm going with this because I'm that tired. I kind of really just want to wrap this up because this is the show that I don't really give 2 shits about. And you can tell by me saying it that I don't give 2 shits about it.
I can remember back when this season started, you were demanding me to watch this series.
Yeah,
you said it was really, absolutely hilarious. It was really
good, but then it just sort of fucking fizzled out because it started getting serious after I sent you those messages about it. Because I thought, at first I was I was on the high of the hilarity, and then they started getting serious about episode 2, and then it's kind of like...
I think that's probably the whole identity issues thing is probably what I caught on in just the first episode, because I couldn't really tell what it was trying to do.
Yeah, and that was the problem. I thought it was just, as it went on, it just got worse with that. It couldn't decide. I mean, it would have the gags, and then it also sort of reused some of the gags a few bits, like you've always got him running in on them while they're naked and all that shit, because he's a pervert, and that's funny. You know, but the thing is, you can only do that so many times before it isn't funny anymore.
Yeah.
And that was the other problem, is it kind of reused a few things, and yeah. All up, I have to say, it's using the rating system. I reckon you could probably pass this one. You don't need to see it. It's not necessary, and of course, if I don't give two shits.
So in other words, it's more of a rent.
Not even that, actually. I'd probably give it lower than that.
So it's a bin.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, the thing is this rating system shit. Because I'm not saying that you disown the series entirely. I mean, it's very niche. You have to go into it kind of expecting, like, I don't even know. I don't. It's just not really that good. But it's not good enough that it's not the problem is, the last thing that I binged was Queensblade. That was fucking horrible. This isn't fucking horrible, but it's not fucking...
Well, I think that does sort of classify it as a stream, because it's... Well, a stream or a rent, really, because it's something that you'd only really watch once and then never really think about again.
Pretty much, yeah. It's not...
It's just forgettable.
Yeah, it's very forgettable. I thought it just... And it wasn't necessary. I mean, if you want to watch it, stream it. It's on Crunchyroll, but don't expect anything huge out of it. It's really not amazing.
It sounds like one of those animes you'll just watch in between when there's nothing else.
Pretty much. I mean, for me, when I got past episode 3, I kind of just stopped watching it for like a month, and then I just picked up.
So in other words, that was kind of the same as what happened to me in Little Busters. It was that series that you kind of felt like you need to watch in order to get ready for the review, but you don't really want to.
It was a bit of a chore. I mean, I would have dropped it if I didn't need to have something for the review. Yeah. And then, of course, the other show came along. Oh, yeah, and the other show came along. Fucking yes, that show.
Well, we'll get into that a bit later.
So, yeah, I reckon I'll give it a rent. Definitely a low rent, though.
Yeah.
It's not something you need.
It's teetering on the edge.
It's very much. It's about to be pushed off the shelf into the bin. I think that's an analogy used once.
Yeah. I can't remember what show we classified that, but I think that is something we keep doing, so...
Anyway, you should talk about yours. Do you want to do this all in one part, or should we...
Yeah, we'll put it all as one part. It's a lot easier that way.
Right, so you wanted to talk about Devil Survivor. I haven't watched that.
Now, it's kind of a bit hard to... I think the main reason I was sort of interested in this was because I was still kind of riding off the high of Persona 4. Because I don't actually think it's done by the same people. But,
I'm not entirely sure. I could look it up.
But I know it's... I mean, the game is still a Shin Megami Tensei game. And I have been kind of interested in the Devil Survivor games. I've never played them, but they do sort of intrigue me. So I thought I'd watch this just to see if it actually gets me interested in playing the games. The plot is basically there's an app flying around which allows you to see the last few seconds of your friends' lives before they die.
Question?
Yeah.
Why the fuck hasn't this been caught by the SCP Foundation yet?
Right. Then pretty much out of nowhere, the entirety of Tokyo is blown up. and somehow people,
Random nuke to the face.
and then somehow people find out that they can summon demons through their phones.
That sounds really oddly familiar. Demons through phones. Where have I heard that before?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's right, Digimon.
Yeah.
You remember before when they had the phones that
Yes.
Digivices? Yes, that's where I remember. That's where that's coming from.
Yes. So basically, the basic plot is just these characters trying to survive 7 trials. So one trial each day.
Now let me guess. Each trial is based off the 7 deadly sins.
No, nope. They just like it just seems to be 7 powerful demons.
That would have been cool though. Like
I
that
know.
would have fit. It would have fit. So beautiful.
And they basically said that if all 7 trials are passed, then they can essentially meet God and change the world.
Okay.
So our protagonists are forced to join up with a group led by the biggest douchebag in the entire world.
Now, can I just say, right, and I know this is going to sound retarded, this is a really good idea for a game.
And it is a game.
That's the point.
Yeah.
I'm saying that it sounds like an interesting idea if you were using it in the tense of a game.
Yeah.
But as an anime,
yeah. So,
so sure.
the leader of this organization, he essentially does not care about anybody who works for him. To them, they are merely, they're expendable. They don't matter. He is the one destined to talk to God.
Okay.
That's what he feels like. And then our main protagonist turns out to be one of the strongest summoners out of all of them. He can summon some of the most powerful demons.
Wow, ain't that a damn thing?
Yeah. So then he sort of like gets used. So it's like, oh, do I want to continue working for this guy who just abuses human life, or do I want to, go up against him? And that's basically a good amount of the story. Considering, like I was saying, there's the app which shows you the last few seconds of a character's life.
Right.
So a few of the episodes are basically about the characters just trying to stop those features from happening. So, and this, again, with the game, this is obviously means that every single character you might not end the game with. So if you like a character in the game, how they are in the anime, you might be going...
You would be able to do actions in the game in order to prevent certain things from happening.
Yeah, in the anime, it's essentially a guessing game of who's going to survive and who's not.
Yeah, and that's what I mean about, this works as a game, but it doesn't work as a show, because it's not, there's too many, loose ends going on, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It sounds really good. I mean, hell, I'd like to pick this game up. This sounds fucking amazing.
I know. This was the sort of things that I was hearing about when the anime was first being previewed. So I got interested, and this was sort of what I put in. But it's just, in terms of the execution, it just doesn't really work.
It's no Persona 4 the animation.
Nah. And it's like, a lot of the characters do come off as sort of whiny and annoying.
Well, because everyone loves whiny and annoying characters.
Yeah, I mean, our main character, he's not bad. His 2 friends, however, are just annoying. There is almost no redeeming factor. Because his main best friend, he's like the joke character of the cast. He's the one who cannot actually summon a strong demon. All of his are completely weaklings. So obviously you kind of guess where that's going by the end of the series.
Should have gone with the fucking Samsung Galaxy then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like his story is kind of predictable, and he's just there to sort of go, no, you can't do this, and why am I not stronger? And you're like, oh, we know where this is going.
Stronger. Oh God, I'm going to betray my friends to become stronger.
No, it's not that. It's just you know that by the end he's going to gain this strength. It's just.
Turns out his demon is little Karibo.
Yeah, it's just really predictable with him, and the female love interest. Oh boy. She essentially is just annoying. She doesn't really contribute anything apart from just being the love interest.
Look at me, I've got boobs.
Oh yeah, she's got giant breasts.
I knew. See, I'm psychic. I'm Katara-san psychicness is running off of me. I read your mind.
I mean, a few of the side characters were actually a lot better. I also can't remember the names now. They kind of come in more in the later half. Like what? The girl's more of a tsundere, so she gets easily embarrassed and stuff. But she is quite funny because there is actually a scene where the characters all have to go for like checkups to see if they're not being contaminated or something. And the guys all try to creep a view in of the love interest.
Of course.
Well, I think it's like she's actually exiting the room, and they're going, "Oh, we weren't going to peek, we weren't." But then later on, this other the tsundere comes in and goes, "Why were you peeking?" And then we jump back to the previous scene, and you see that she's in the background, looking really embarrassed. But I mean, other than that, some of the fight scenes are pretty good.
So animation quality is pretty.
Yeah, the animation's pretty good, and again, I love the soundtrack. Because the opening song was done by KZ, who's my favourite Vocaloid writer. I love KZ songs, and yeah, I think it's "Take Your Way." That's a brilliant song. And there are like little touches, like in the ending credits sequence, when a character dies, they vanish from the sequence.
I do like little things like that.
Yeah. So it makes you certain that they're dead. So don't be expecting to randomly reappear later on.
Yeah, they definitely did. We're not pulling that shit on.
Yeah, and it definitely, because by the time you reach the end of the series, you're like, wow, we really lost that many, and it makes the ending animation seem so barren and it really works considering how that credit sequence works.
Might have to give it a try myself at some day. Got some time on my hands.
But yeah, and really, it has a good start. Like the first few episodes, they're not bad, and the last few episodes, they're not bad as well. Even though it does kind of get a bit clumsy because they just going, oh shit, we've only got like 2 episodes left, and there's quite a lot of characters surviving. So it's just like mass death. That's what it essentially comes down to near the end.
Shotgun to the face.
So, but apart from that, like, the ending is pretty good. But around the middle, my God, does it get dull. It just grinds to a halt. And again, similar to what you were saying about Stony Cat, it's like it just becomes a bit of a chore to sit through.
Yeah.
It's like, and again, it's like, not that it was bad. I mean, I was enjoying it enough, but I don't know what it was. It was just not working as well as it probably should have.
Gears weren't tuned as well.
Yeah, so I think really this works better as a game.
that's what I mean. From the description you told me, it sounds like it would make a good game. It's
Yeah.
just the transition. It doesn't sound like it would work. So.
Yeah. So obviously I have to give it a rent, and probably similar to Stony Cat, it's a very low rent.
Yeah. Maybe not as low as Stony Cat, though, from what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe not.
Unless you remembered something.
Yeah, maybe not as bad, but yeah, it's definitely not going to be as memorable as a lot of other stuff.
Oh well. Right. Katara-san. This show made me cry.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking. It made me fucking... The first episode will make you cry. Carter, if you watch that first episode and it doesn't make you cry, I'm gonna smack you. Because that shit is sad. That shit... Especially if you, like... I'm not gonna get into too much, but let's just say, in order to give context to this little rant, I had a bad upbringing. All I'm gonna say.
Alright.
A lot of stuff makes sense, okay?
So, yeah, so it kind of related to you.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
So again, because I mean, you were saying it, how it's very similar to how Sakura So was to me.
Oh god, yeah, mate.
Yeah, and with me, Sakura So, yeah, Sakura So to me, I was able to relate so much to it.
Yeah.
So
Katara-san is about obviously Katara-san, who is a young middle school girl who can read minds. She has full ESP, can basically pluck the thoughts right out of your head, and the show actually starts with her being born. The very first episode is her being born, and it goes through her toddler years, and it starts off very happy and everything's all good, and as it goes along, you slowly see how her power ruins her life. Because what's happening is she's reading people's minds, but she doesn't know she is. So she's saying things like, there's one scene with at school, like I think a little bit into the first episode, where she's talking with some girls, and the girls are talking about how they aren't into boys, and she basically goes, "No, you're lying. You're actually saying that you like this person, and you're saying you like this person," and then it ends up being that the girls end up hating her. And this just progresses, and then you cut to the scene where it cuts to a scene where you've got Katara-san and Katara-san's mother, whose name escapes me, and the teacher's basically saying that she's a compulsive liar, which isn't true because she's a psychic. Which then leads to the wife taking Katara-san to all these doctors to try and figure out what's wrong with her, and they can't find anything. And oh god damn it, the imagery. Just this one scene where you see Katara-san just looking up at fucking her mother, just going, "Mummy, am I sick? Shit." Ooh. And then this slowly starts to bring a tear into the relationship of the father, who you don't really get to see as much as the mother. And then this all culminates to the point where Katara-san actually outs both of them for cheating on each other.
Ooh.
Because it gets that bad. It gets to the point where both of these parents, literally, Katara-san's mum's become an alcoholic, and it gets to the point where they both just abandon her. She becomes abandoned, and at school she's getting bullied 24/7 about how she's psychic, and it ends, and she transfers school of her own accord, and and she actually reads the mind of the teacher, and the teacher says in her head, "Great, we don't have to deal with this troublemaker anymore."
Yeah, that sounds really...
Yeah.
Yeah.
This show is fucking dark to begin with. Like, it breaks you. This show breaks your freaking feels, mate. And then this all culminates to the set piece of the episode, which is the cat scene. Katara-san's walking to school and she finds a cat. And she makes friends with the cat because she can't read the cat's mind. And then the very next scene is she goes to bring the cat food, and we don't know what the time scale is on this. We don't know if it's a week after or whatnot. And the cat's not there, and then you see this old lady comes in and says, "So you're the one that's been feeding this cat. I took it into the shelter so I wouldn't have to put up with it anymore." She fucking... The imagery. I can't even describe how... You just get this feel of utter devastation. You just feel how she's feeling. Like, just the utter... like, no eyes. White eyes. Fucking screaming. No sound. It's just the music. No sound but the music. But she's just collapses. And, oh, God. Man, that was the point, man. Right there. Just... Jeez. I actually had to stop watching and get a drink, because I couldn't fucking... That was just mental.
Yeah.
So she gets transferred to the new school, and it seems to be, and everything's all dark and gloomy, and it goes into, she's announcing herself, and the teacher basically goes, "Oh, this one's gonna be trouble," and then she basically goes, "I'm sorry for being a nuisance," and she goes to sit down, and she sees it's just gonna be like every other school, and this is where we get introduced to Manabe, who. She's walking by, and he's imagining the funniest fucking thing. It's these random naked purple things dancing in the desert with tumbleweed going in the background. There's hundreds of them. And all of a sudden, the entire screen just shatters. Right? Just shatters. And it all becomes colourful again. Opening.
Damn.
Opening to the show. And that's not the end of the first episode. That's just halfway. The credits start rolling at that point. Yes.
Given that they have like the credits at the halfway point of the episode, that actually really does prove that they're caring about the story.
Yeah,
because I noticed that about a lot of animes. Like, if they really do care about the series that they're working on, they do stuff like that. They don't mind letting the song, run a little bit.
Yeah, it was just that scene was just devastating, man. You have to see it. It's something that
I honestly might.
I can't even describe how that scene is so effective. Like, even if you don't cry, but you'll feel it, like inside you. Like, you just like, you have to have the build up though. Like, it all fits together. Like, it just, oh my god. But after this point, we meet Manabe, who is essentially a anime representation of me.
Yeah.
he is literally like, if I met a psychic, this is my reaction. He is, instead of being like, oh, you're creepy, he's like, oh, this is really interesting. You can read my mind. The first thing he says is, oh, no, now I can't think dirty thoughts anymore. He's like... Which actually is funny considering what happens next. So he's basically going, oh, you're really interesting. Can I sit and eat lunch with you? And the friendship develops as you would expect it to, which is when we're next introduced to this other chick who's the redhead one. Well, not redhead, it's more of a maroon colour, but I can't remember her name because it's not listed on the website. I would I gotta fucking think about it because I'm not even going to try. But she has a crush on Manabe. And she's basically getting rejected by him all the time. In a nice way, of course, not, because he's a nice guy. But she keeps trying. But then Kotaro-san comes in, and you notice in this first episode there's a little bit of, jealousy in there. And I'm not going to say anything, but it comes back later. Considering the fact she's on all the advertisement.
Yeah.
And then we get a scene with them on the roof. Which is because Kotaro-san doesn't want to eat lunch with him because she's suffering from Hedgehog's dilemma. Thanks, Evangelion, for inventing that fucking phrase. If Evangelion taught me anything, it's the word Hedgehog dilemma. And she's basically wanting to stay away from him. And he's basically not letting go. So she's running away, and in order to get her to stay, he starts thinking perverted thoughts about her. And she's just like, no, go back in, and just start beating the crap out. So, yeah, and that's kind of the type of humour that's a running gag in the show, is that he's always thinking dirty, perverted thoughts about it.
So he is the anime representation of you.
Yes, exactly. He's just doing it just to be funny. It's some of these things is real. There's this one where she's dressed up as a sheep and he's like a wolf, and Jesus Christ, it's so great. It's so fucking funny. So I'm just going to go for the first episode. So, and then it carries on into there's a scene where they're walking. She's gone shopping, and they're about to cross the road, and she saves Manabe's life because the truck driver who's driving past isn't going to stop for the red light, and she reads that truck driver's mind and saves his life. And she's like, you must think I'm really weird now, and he's just like, no. he's just like, thanks. And she's just like, what? And then we get a little bit of a heartwarming scene where he basically goes, I'm never going to leave you and whatnot, and then that's basically where it ends the first episode. Yeah. If you can't tell, I like this series. Now I'm gonna actually this is the big test, right? I showed this to my classmates at school. They're all watching it now.
Oh, right.
Not even the ones that said they didn't like anime. Every single one of them watched the first 3 episodes, and they're all watching it now. They're actually waiting for me to get back to school so I can fucking bring up Crunchyroll and let them watch it. because I have access, I have privileges. Let's just say that. That's a bit of a testament in itself. When you've got people that haven't really watched any anime before, have very limited knowledge, they watch this, they love the fuck out of it. And even I was surprised. I was like, yeah, because I'm actually basing some of my artwork on Kataris, the kind of art style. And I was basically, they were like, oh yeah, this looks pretty cool, you know. And I was like, hey, you want to watch it? And they were like, all right. And Jesus Christ, reactions were priceless. So that's a pretty big thing. Is if you can show a show to someone that's like not like an anime, that's not someone that's not really knowledgeable of anime tropes and whatnot, and actually have them enjoy it. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
You know. And as the show progresses, we're introduced to a few more characters like Mifune, who is the head of the ESP club, and she is crack up because she's like she basically drags Kotaro-san and Manabe to the ESP club, and we introduced to the other member who is like a friend of Mifune, and they're basically like, where are all the other members? Oh, we don't have any other members. It's just us two. And she's basically like, it's because all of them run away after Mifune tries to abduct them. And then she's like, oh, well, maybe I might run away too. And Mifune's just like, ha 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 ha, dashes to the door and puts on like 50 padlocks on the door.
Ah, the Haruhi tactic.
Yes! Oh, it's great. The humour in the show is really, really good. And it's different to, like, the other show I talked about. Because the humour doesn't supplement from the seriousness. It's serious at times. It gets really heartwarming and really serious as you watch this relationship between Manabe and Kotaro-san.
Yeah, it's like this one knows what it wants to be.
Yeah, like there's this one bit later on where, not going to go into spoilers, but they're chasing down Kotaro-san. And Kotaro-san's hiding behind a statue, and Manabe's thinking to himself, and she's just going about how, I'm sorry, I'm not going to leave you, I'm not going to do this, all that. And then it ends, and Kotaro-san's about to literally go up to him and, like, hug him, and he's basically like, when I find her, I'm going to spank the fucker. So basically, like, I'm going to spank her. It won't be that bad. Just come out, because he knows she can read minds. And then she fucking backs up into Mifune, and Mifune catches her in a fucking net. And it's fucking... Not going to give any context to it. Just oh.
So I'm easily guessing that you're giving this a buy.
Fuck yeah. Well, personally, yes. This comes out, subbed, dubbed, fucking... I don't care, I'm buying it.
And I'm guessing...
Nothing.
Will you give it... Are you giving it a must-see mark?
I'm giving it a must-see mark. I think the fact... I was hesitant to give it a must-see mark at first because I thought, oh, this is going to be a niche title again, and I keep watching these niche titles. Then I showed it to the people at school, and if every single person at school liked it, you know, that says something. That says that, you know, this show's got something. It has something special. Like... Only one in a few shows have something like this.
Yeah.
This little pitch to it that makes it truly great. And this show's got that little kick. Now, I know a lot of people, and I want to talk about the ending because I'm not going to spoil the ending, but I'm just going to say this show has the best ending I have ever seen because it literally wraps up everything.
Now that's good to hear. That is very good to hear.
I actually don't know how they did it, but they managed to wrap up anything that was loose. Any loose plot threads, any loose freaking little, oh, mate, oh, well, what happened to that? No, they wrap up everything in one episode. 2, technically, if you count the freaking second to last episode, but they wrap up everything. And it works. This show doesn't need a sequel. I would love it to have a sequel just because I fucking love the shit out of it, but it doesn't need it because that ending was solid.
So again,
no sequel baiting.
Again,
no bullshit.
Yeah, again, that kind of, well, not really, to that extent, because it's like, again, with me and Sakurai, sort of had an idea. There was potential for a sequel, but it ended in a way which made you feel like if there wasn't a sequel, you'd be fine with it.
This show could have a sequel if they wanted to do one, because I'm pretty sure the manga that it's based on... Oh, here's the funny thing. Karto, guess what type of manga this is based off?
Oh, I don't want to know.
You sure you don't want to know? Begins with 4. It's a 4 comma.
Oh, boy.
I'm not... No, but here's the thing. They did it fucking right. They actually did it right. They made a 4 comma manga anime, and they did it right. They did it! Yes!
Now I really am interested.
Dude, you won't be disappointed by the show.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it is truly a great show. And like I said, this ending, they could do a sequel if they wanted to, if there's more material, if the manga continues. Because I know the manga's still going. The 4 comma manga is still going. I can't remember how many volumes it's up to, but it's still going. But it doesn't need it. It could be standalone. It doesn't require any form of extra stuff. There are a few OVAs, but that's just basically Manabe in his room doing random shit, apparently.
So it's basically, it's more filler stories.
I think it's basically him giving his thoughts on the episodes. I think it's an in-between kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't actually know. I haven't looked into it. It wasn't on Crunchyroll, so I'm not really going to bother too much about the OVAs. But yeah, I think definitely this show is one of the best ones I've seen this year. And it's definitely a contender for best anime of this year. When that comes around at the end of the year. I know I don't say that lightly. I really do not say that lightly. This show touched me that much.
So yeah, that's your contender for anime of the year.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh boy.
This show is amazing. This show is... You know, you said Pet Gear Samara was better than Black Rock Shooter. This is better than Black Rock Shooter. I'm not even going to hesitate. Better than Black Rock Shooter. If I had to put this in a league, it's in the same league as Full Metal Alchemist with me. And I love the fuck out Full Metal Alchemist with all my heart. This show is in that league for me.
I'm finding it quite weird how much we're kind of saying the same things. You know, I pretty much said the exact same things about Sakura last time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. And I am so angry with myself that I didn't pick up this show when it was actually on season. Because I knew a little bit about this show last season. I knew, well, by last season, I mean winter. I watched a few things from J.C. Otakuon, and I was interested. I was like, oh, this might be pretty good, you know? I mean, and I think I said that in the season review. I was like, yeah, this might be pretty good, because it mixes some of my favourite elements. You know, the supernatural, bit of romance, bit of flipping, you know, funny stuff to it, you know? It mixes a bunch of things that I like.
Yeah.
In anime. Psychological aspects, you know, this show gets really psychological, especially later on. You know, it's for me, this was just the perfect mix of everything. And for me, this is just a really good show. I can't vouch for everyone. I mean, you can't do that for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, everybody has their own personal tastes. So.
For me, personally, this is definitely one of the best shows I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I could perfectly understand that. I probably will give it a watch myself because it has intrigued me.
It's on Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
It's available in New Zealand. You know, if you got the time, just give it a go. You know, if you don't like it, you don't like it. If you like it, you like it. Just for me, personally, it's just, whew, unbelievable. Love the show. I better stop it there before I continue to praise. I could go, like, for hours praising.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's all the shows that we've been really watching over the last season. Shall we at least tease what shows we're watching this season for the summer?
Hang on, I think I wrote down some stuff about
Yeah.
that. So 2013.
The shows I'm thinking of watching, because all of them haven't really started as of this recording. I'm continuing Railgun S. I'm watching Symphogear G, Neptunia, obviously, Fatelia, and It's Not My Fault I'm Not Popular. I believe that's the title. Yeah.
I think it might be something a little bit different translated, but that's practically what.
Yeah, it's pretty much the title.
Neptunia and Popular for me. High School DxD New because I have to fucking watch the sequel. 7X Service and possibly Stellar Jingada, which is basically the one with the girls and the guns.
Oh, yeah.
It's the airsoft one. I actually reckon that looks very interesting. So I'm planning on giving that a go if I can find it anyway. So yeah, that's kind of what we're going to have a lot more to talk about next time, which is going to be good. And hopefully I'll be a bit more prepared. Take some more notes. Actually memorize people's names. Hey, I managed to remember the fucking Katara-san's name. That's an achievement in of itself. I remembered their names, Karto.
You remembered the title of the series.
Yes. Excellent. Perfect points right there. So yeah.
Oh yeah, this has been Karto 1989 with Nretsew. For the Otaku Blaze season review for spring 2013, we will see you next time.
Yeah.